You know, we got off to a really good start this week. I'll go back a little bit. You know, our philosophy, since the rookie orientation is to assess the rookies, why the vets are conditioning, and then get the rookies back into a position and get them caught up with the veteran group so that they compete. So we did that. We had a couple really good weeks. Last week was an off week for our vets. We kept the rooks here and pushed them through the conditioning phase and the weight training phase, and so obviously, you know, this Tuesday was our first day together, our first OTA, and that went very well. Yesterday we had a 90-minute phase 2 exercise on the field with everybody, and so you just finished watching our second OTA, and things are good. I'm pleased with where things are. Todd's doing a great job with his rehab. He's very anxious. He's probably a little frustrated. Probably deep down inside, not real happy right now, but he's anxious to get out there, so that's going well. We have a number of players that had some off-season, early off-season surgeries that are getting really close. Everybody's just about back. Isaiah Pete is working through some individual stuff on the field, so he's coming along as the rest of them. Brian Quick's probably the one we have to watch, because I mentioned to you before, we'll have to watch him, keep him out of contact, but he's running routes against air and catching, and he's progressing nicely. So I think we're in a good spot right now. We just have to finish up strong through the next couple of weeks of OTAs.
What can you tell us about the health of Bud Sasser?
We agreed to terms with Bud yesterday, and then we put him on NFI. We did some extensive studies after the draft, and they're very extensive, as you can imagine, and it was determined and concluded by numerous physicians that he had a pre-existing condition that we don't feel will allow him to play.
Is there anything that can change that, or is it pretty much?
Not in our opinion, no. Not in the medical opinion, and based on the experts and everything else. It's just, he was a non-combine guy, and that happens sometimes. And so, it was our team physicians, outside physicians, other specialists that recommended that he not play. So we, it's a pre-existing condition. We agreed to terms. He got a signing bonus, and we'll just kind of see what his future holds.
A heart condition, is that?
I'm not going to comment on what the condition was, but he failed our physical.
So because he was non-combine, you guys didn't have a chance. Nobody had a chance to really examine.
That's correct. You didn't have information. Typically, what you do is you contact the university, which we did, and this was just one of those things that kind of slipped through the cracks.
What have you seen from Nick Foles so far?
Nick's been great. It's not only in the team stuff, but in the individual days with the receivers and everybody. He's taken charge. He's got a good feel for our offense right now, and he's got his hands full because we have great defensive team speed, and they're doing a lot of things over there right now.
You're a big supporter of our troops. You have Daniel Rodriguez in here. Can you tell me why the move and what he brings to your team?
Well, Dan's story is unique. It's really unique. I think it's well documented. And, as we were filling out the roster, we had a receiver spot available, and thought, what a great opportunity for him to come in. And, he's got special teams ability, he's got return skills, and, he was a great story there at Clemson. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity for him. And so I'm looking forward to getting him in the preseason game, see what we can do.
In terms of Foles, how important is it not only to get the playbook, but just to kind of establish himself as a leader, and how can you see that maybe has progressed?
That's what he's done since he got here. He walked in the door and he went out of his way to meet everybody, and they did some individual things together. He took charge in the phase 1 where the coaches can't be present. He took the players out, the skilled players, offensive players, and threw and did those things. So since then he's been doing great. So he's got that's everything that we heard is true, and I'm sure we're going to be surprised as we move ahead with him, because we've just been really pleased.
What did you change with him versus Bradford? Anything at all?
Change?
Did you change anything?
Well, we've made some changes to our offense just because of the coaching changes. So terminology things and move in different directions. But from a mental standpoint, no. I mean, Sam was brilliant, and so is Nick. They don't have any trouble learning football.
What about the addition of Jeff Garcia to the coaching staff? I know you interviewed him as a quarterback,
Yeah.
but now he's be working kind of.
Yeah, you know, I interviewed actually two people for the quarterback position. That's Chris Winkie and Jeff Garcia. And boy, when I was done with Jeff, it just felt like, you know, he's got some special qualities and characteristics, and he's kind of one of those guys you want on your staff. And so it took us a little bit longer, but basically what we're going to do is move Jeff into the receiver room with Coach Sherman, and he gives a different perspective. You know, he gives that quarterback perspective to the receivers, which I think is helpful.
I'm sure everywhere you go, you get asked, are the Rams going to be here next year? How do you deal with that question with the team?
Well, it's not a distraction. We can't let it be a distraction. You know, I've been through it once, and I learned that from that. And it's been my opinion, really, from the start when all this stuff started happening, that I'm better off probably not knowing the specifics. That way, when someone asks me, I can say I don't know. So that way, I can say I'm telling the truth. So our focus is on obviously this next week of OTAs and this fall and playing football here. And so that's just, I think that's the best way to approach it.
Coach, what have you seen so far of these young offensive linemen?
Well, they're fast learners. They're especially strong, talented. You know, we got 4 of them here, 5 of them actually, that I think have a chance to make this team. And you know, when you come from programs like Iowa, like Wisconsin, your technique's sound or your head. And then, you know, JB did a great job there at Louisville, and I think he's right behind him, so he's especially strong. So they've had a good couple of weeks.
We know this isn't the first year that you won't have a mini camp, but considering new quarterback, young line, new system, did you rethink that at all, or just
No, I didn't. I didn't think it was necessary. I think, you know, when you look actually at the veteran mini camp, it's really no different than an OTA. You're allowed to go on the field once. You get to have a walkthrough. You get to keep them in the building for 12 hours rather than 6. And I personally think that's too much and too long during the off season. I mean, we have them every day. So you know, there's a distinct difference between what we can do with the veterans and what we can do with the rookies. There's a 6-hour time limit window on the OTA day and 2 hours on the field. There's no restrictions with the rookies. So we're getting a lot of extra time with the rookies in the afternoons to get them caught up. And I've just always been one of those that have been opposed to the mandatory mini camp, especially back in the days when you got to go on the field twice a day, and it just made no sense to me that you would take a professional athlete, make him practice twice a day in the middle of the off season. Didn't make sense. Probably because I hated it. So.
Are you stacking the team Sunday to ensure another victory?
Oh yes, yeah. This one's going to work out. I conceded a little bit last year and settled with the tie. You know, but that's not happening this year. So I had my draft day before yesterday, so things are looking good.
You've got a new opposing coach too. You got a book on Fossil?
You know, he understands. He's preparing to accept defeat. He may have already talked to Coach Schottenheimer and Coach Lowry down in Tennessee, but he understands what's ahead. So.
So Sasser there's no need for him to be, he's not around the team or anything now, right? So.
That's correct.